Well, in the realm of the subject of the broad-based subject of anti-aging, there's actually many approaches that people take, and they could be nutritional, herbal, or which is the same as nutritional, but like vitamins, minerals, herbs, and even electronic, and methods of meditation whereby you're bringing up frequencies in your body. Now, I have read, and this, it's actually backed up by science, but they were talking about an injection that will be available sometime in the 2020s. And I've heard these things about 10 years ago. They're supposed to be out 5-10 years about other things that could actually change our DNA structure. But this is a more simple thing, and that you could probably do by taking the precursors that bring up a coenzyme called NAD+. And one of those precursors is nicotinic acid. Now, NAD is a coenzyme that depletes as we get older. As a matter of fact, by the time we're 80 years old, our body's only producing 1 to 10% of the NAD that we were back in our 20s. And the reason for it, well, it's just the aging process, but if you add an NAD plus to the body, increase it, it can help not only with anti-aging, but also cognitive function. As a matter of fact, this is the reason why, well, it was a study by Dr. Abraham Hoffer back in the 1940s. He actually did a formal double-blind studies in 1952, published in 1957, where NAD was a lack of NAD was a cause of schizophrenia. And he was actually reversing it in 90% of their patients within a few months by giving high doses of nicotinic acid and vitamin C. Now, there's other things that are involved with this, and there's other evidence to show that an increase in NAD could greatly enhance your life and extend your life, not just extend it, but make you more vital. It may have to do with the DNA structure being protected. May have to do with that. I know there's other herbal roots out there that have been known for probably 2,000 years, like astragalus root, the yellow root from China, that can help protect the telomeres or end caps on the end of the chromosomes to keep the cell division going longer. This may have something to do with that too, but it has been proven that NAD is anti-aging and also help boost cognitive abilities and could eliminate schizophrenia or bipolar disorder in most cases. But how do you get NAD, the coenzyme NAD+? Like I said, one of the precursors is, one of the main precursors to building NAD, the coenzyme, is nicotinic acid or vitamin B3. You also probably heard about Restorval, which is very, that was considered for a while the French miracle of why, the French with a seemingly poor diet, which actually turned out not to be a poor diet, why they lived long and had very few heart attacks. That was one aspect to it. It turned out later on that it was actually due to the vitamin K2. But when you add Restorval to the diet with also taking the nicotinic acid, it can be very beneficial. Also the vitamin D, and you cannot raise vitamin D levels sufficiently without having enough adequate magnesium. Sorry to say, it's not like one simple thing is a magic pill. And a lot of these nutrients work supporting each other. As a matter of fact, when you're taking vitamin D, it's good to take the K2 with it to make sure that the vitamin D is directed towards repairing tissue and bringing calcium into the areas the body needs and not calcifying the heart and the arteries and things like that. But vitamin D can also be very important for our skin and overall immune system. And as you know, that when you get sick, that's one of the things that can actually age you rapidly. So staying healthy is another aspect of anti-aging. The one I'm talking about now the most is NAD+, but then, like I said, you cannot, they're talking about having injections of this. I know you can get it, you can get supplements that have NAD, but they're not cheap. They're not cheap. You can get injections, and they're talking about even more specialized injections where there's some claims out there. I'm emphasizing the word claim, but they can add maybe 10, 20 years to your life. In other words, not being old, but vitality of another 10 to 20 years of vitality to your life. But the simplest method, in an attempt to get the same results as taking, specialized injections or specialized supplements, is to take the precursors to the NAD plus, which is nicotinic acid, and also um, uh, the vitamin D supplements can help very much with that. Again, NAD in our bodies depletes rapidly, and that has a lot to do with why we have rapid aging as we get older. In other words, you don't see much aging in people from 20 to 30 and even to 40, but then all of a sudden it starts increasing and increasing and increasing, and that's because your NAD coenzyme is very low. Another thing that happens too is collagen depletion. You'll see this a lot, well, of course, with wrinkles, age spots, and that type of stuff. And one of the best things to protect against collagen depletion is vitamin C. Now, there are different recommended amounts, but obviously, I could say obviously that the recommended daily allowance established by, the Medical Professional Association is, or the American Medical Association, the recommended daily allowance is definitely way too low. That's a plateau to just not keep you from getting scurvy. And if you get sick, the vitamin C levels deplete, so you need a lot more of it. And that's really like a lot of times where your aging gets accelerated because you are not having enough vitamin C for the situations you're dealing with, sickness. Now, amongst, let's say, the people that are more into orthomolecular medicine, as the term was coined by Dr. Linus Pauling, the two-time Nobel Peace Prize winner, he would recommend a minimum of 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day versus the 75 or whatever it is right now. I mean, they're changing it a little bit, but maybe they're going to up it to 120 milligrams. He would recommend a minimum of 3,000. The fact is, though, vitamin C is non-toxic, and it's one of the safest vitamins out there. It's one of those vitamins you really can't really overdo it with too much. It's almost impossible. That is one reason. Another reason to go with a little higher dose, because it's an electron donor. It fights a lot of microbes. It's a viricide. It's also something that can help improve and regenerate all the connective tissue in the body, because even if just applied to collagen is not just your skin, it's all the connective tissue in your body. So sometimes you'll have all these aches and pains because your collagen depletion is going on. And as a matter of fact, collagen depletion each year since, like, say, the early 20s is 3 to 7% a year. So by the time you're in your 60s or 70s, it's really depleted. Now, another thing that works along with keeping collagen healthy, and you probably would never heard this, is garlic. Garlic, which actually is probably one of the best, I don't know if you would call it an herb, but it's been a medicinal treatment going all the way back to the ancient Romans, because disease mainly starts in the gut, and garlic will fight diseases that even antibiotics are no longer working against, because garlic works against microbes that, even if they morph into something else that become resistant to pharmaceutical drugs, the garlic will still work against it. And that's really a lot where most illnesses start. And so, illnesses can lead to, or even minor illnesses can actually accelerate the aging process. So you want to stay as healthy as possible. But so that's one of the reasons to even take garlic. But garlic actually works with the vitamin C to help preserve and promote the elasticity of the collagen throughout the body, which relates to the skin and also all the vital connective tissue. But those two things, if you could keep your collagen from decreasing and keep the NAD plus coenzyme up to like levels where it was in your 20s, you'd probably live a lot longer. And the thing is, I don't, I would not say take any kind of crazy specialized expensive treatments or anything like that. I mean, nicotinic acid is very cheap, natural vitamin B3, vitamin C, and I know they talk about the whole vitamin C. The whole vitamin C from natural sources is very expensive. But you could take, vitamin C, which is ascorbic acid, that even has some of the bioflavonoids in there. which can help. Maybe you don't have to take it just pure ascorbic acid, but you could want to take the ones maybe with some of the bioflavonoids in there. Vitamin D, vitamin D3, and K2, and magnesium. So when you're taking all these important supplements, and along with vitamin E, so getting back to the main premise, anti-aging, and keeping your collagen levels high and your NAD coenzyme levels high. I'm not selling nothing here, and I'm not associated with even a supplement company or anything like that. What you're really trying to do, what I'm really trying to present here is what gets you the most bang for the buck. In other words, what's the cheapest method to do? And even if it doesn't work, is it going to help you? Yeah, it's going to help you. Taking some more vitamin C, making sure you're taking adequate amounts of vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, K2, and garlic. Putting some garlic on your food, believe it or not, it's very important antimicrobial, which will help keep the balance of the bioflora more correct, where it works against the unhealthy bacteria and it keeps the healthy bacteria intact. So what I'm looking at is, the most practical ways towards anti-aging that don't break the bank at all. And there's a lot of supplements out there. There's also a lot more things that are involved with electronics. I know I've talked about the George's Lukowski multi-wave oscillator. Now that's been known to be doing anti-aging too. I don't know, people don't even understand exactly how it works. Is it bringing up the frequency of the cells? Is it bringing energies into the body? Or is it straightening out the DNA and making everything in alignment again? I'm not 100% sure. I know that there's even a building that was built back, I think it was in the 1960s, by Georges von Tassel, the Integratron, if I'm saying that right, near 29 Palms, California, Joshua Tree, California, that was working along the same principles too. So, there's more complicated technical methods that can probably work for anti-aging, but the thing is, they're too complicated and too expensive for most people. And I will mention, the reason I mentioned that here in the end, because I have read an article some years ago in Business Insider that there was tech billionaires talking that they have methods that they can live to be 1,000 years or more. And they were showing, eating organic foods and vitamins. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Jack LaLanne would have been living past where I think he made it almost to 100. I think he lived to be 97, 98. He was doing all that. And obviously it helped him a great deal, but it didn't make him live thousands of years or even hundreds of years. He didn't quite get past 100. But, what would pique my interest about that article was that it was coming from technology billionaires. People that probably understand and probably have vastly improved variants of, say, the Lukowski multi-wave oscillator that can bring their DNA back into alignment and all their cells convert from an aged cell with a low voltage to a normal cell with a normal half a volt negative voltage and bring the frequency up to correct. I think there's probably some serious technological advancements out there, and we're not going to know about them till, maybe you see Bill Gates looking really young. Tell you the truth, I'm going to give you a little hint about something that I picked up just to give you as a side note. I'm throwing this here on the end of this video about the technology. If I think there's one guy out there that does have the technology to anti-age, it's probably Vladimir Putin. Russians have been noted as great engineers and, very serious, astute engineers that are disciplined, that will persevere to get the job done right. I'm sure since Georges Lukowski was a Russian emigree to Paris, worked with Nikola Tesla to come up with his Lukowski coil. I'm sure Vladimir Putin is aware of it. The Lukowski coil has been documented by medical doctors back in the 1930s to have astounding anti-aging results, not just anti-disease results, healing results, but also anti-aging. It works against disease not directly, but by strengthening the body. And I know one of the jokes in Russia is, who says there's not new faces in politics? Because, some people speculated that Vladimir Putin had a facelift, and I don't think he did. The guy's incredibly young looking, And he looks younger today than he did back when he was in 2000. So he might have access to this technology. You won't. And I'm just recommending some supplements to help along this line that are very cheap and actually probably can keep you from getting sick as easily, especially like the garlic and the vitamin C, well, vitamin D too, and also. But and also a lot of times, even I should mention, the nicotinic acid has been known to be a major detoxifier, and that's one of the reasons why vegetables are sometimes touted to be anti-cancerous. And it's not that the vegetables work against cancer directly, but there's a lot of times there's vitamins in there that are detoxifiers, like vitamin B3, that remove the toxins that aggravate cancers. See, and also the more toxins you remove, the better your body functions naturally. So that's another reason all these things work well, because vitamin C can help remove toxins, and so can vitamin B3. But also at the same time, it can help improve your memory, your mood, and your overall psyche. So it's got multiple benefits. It's amazing that more people aren't on board with this stuff. But my emphasis this time is on NAD, because NAD plus, your body, you know, if you could get the enzyme, you could buy supplements that actually have the enzyme directly, and you could supplement with it. They're not cheap. They're not that cheap. But you could take the building block that were one of the main building blocks of NAD, which is nicotinic acid. And this is really how Dr. Abram Hoffer increased the NAD in his schizophrenic and bipolar patients to cure them without even using any kind of pharmaceutical drugs. And it's not a conjecture or just a story. He actually undergone loads of tests doing this in the 1940s. Then he finally did the first double-blind study in 1952 that was printed and published in 1957. But since that time, the studies have been done over and over again, also in conjunction with the Linus Pauling Institute. You know, Linus Pauling is a two-time Nobel Peace Prize winner, one in chemistry. So, you know, it's not hearsay. That's just my point. But if you could bring up the NAD levels in schizophrenic patients, you can also bring them up higher in everybody else. And this is a major route to anti-aging. Because again, like I said, you know, NAD levels of an 80-year-old are about 1 to 10% of what they were back when the person was like 21. And that causes a person to age even faster. So if you can keep up your collagen levels, your NAD levels, coenzyme, and I know there's a lot more to it than that, because there's never one thing, but these are two things that are very good to concentrate on. And also there's cheap methods to help keep those NAD coenzyme levels and vitamin and collagen levels strong. There's cheap methods to do it. You don't have to go out and take some, you know, and I also want to recommend that if you ever buy supplements, I don't want to say a specific place, but go to a reputable place online that deals in supplements, and they have a long time trusted reputation. Because I found out through studies in the FDA, and sometimes you don't want to hear the FDA, but sometimes the FDA actually does some good things. They found in some of the retail stores that some of the supplements sold in the retail stores were fake. They were nothing but rice bran powder. And that was, I actually did a video on that before, what the study was. I don't even want to mention the retail stores again, but you know, if you go into a place that is a reputable vitamin and supplement and herbal company that's been established, and they're not going to sell you some garbage. You know, they have in-house testing labs where they test the batches. They take samples of each batch they get in, they test them. You can trust them. I mean, you're gonna get good stuff then. I would make sure you get that through them, and your supplements through some place like that. And also, you know, buying online is a lot of times cheaper than going to the retail store anyway. So, you know, you're getting the best of both worlds there. All right, so just a little quick advice, and I just think there's a lot of value in this. In other words, that's the key word, value. Because you could spend a lot of money on, different concoctions, and it's like sometimes it's all marketing and advertising, and I'm not selling nothing. I'm just telling you some real basic things that to do, that I do myself. Because if I can live to be 500 or 1,000 years old, like some of these tech billionaires are talking like thousands of years old, I'll do that. That'll be fine by me. As long as I can stay vibrant and young, I'll be fine with that. Anyway, over and out.